at this point, I'm starting to wonder about people around the country, not the haters, because I don't care about them, but people around the country that cover college football. If you're not high on Oklahoma, with potentially the best defense in the country, a Heisman level quarterback, probably one of the best running backs in the country, and a renewed offensive line with the best offensive line coach in the country. And did I say that they have the best defense in the country? If you're not high on OU, what are you high on? Let's talk about it. Plus, we'll have Chris Mason on to talk a little bit of recruiting right now, Rise and Shine College Football. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome back to Rise and Shine College Football. I'm your host, Jason Watkins, and if you love college football, you know you're in the right place. So before you forget, smash that red subscriber button, like our videos, and don't forget to ring the bell so you don't miss one moment of Hall of Fame college football. Welcome into the show, everybody. Logan Licky Benji said fit. Yeah, I'm sure they are. Brian Sandlin, Brandon Snake, Stephen G, Comanche Sooner, Bob, David Whitehead. Good to see you guys in here, man. Good to see everybody in here this morning. We're going to jump into some of that, talking a little bit. We're going to have Chris Mason on for a little bit because I do want to talk about the new head trainer hire. That's some of the stuff that we've been really concerned about at OU, or as OU fans. One of the things that probably could derail Oklahoma, but want to talk to him a little bit about that. Also, we're going to talk a little bit about anything that we're hearing coming out of the O'Neal / Bo Bentley recruitment. How did that go this weekend? We'll find out a little bit of what we find out from Chris Mason. He's got his finger on the pulse. The bat phone could have been ringing. He was asking me yesterday about if I wanted him to come on, so that makes me feel like he's got something to say. Anyway, it may not be about that, but this is recruiting time. A good recruiting time. I know we did get another commitment yesterday. Good time to have it happen. Let's see. Ben, Jason's video notification just woke you up. Oh, hey, well, I'm glad that works. What's up, Dwayne John, Seatbelt Mafia? Yep, got that commitment last night. Yes, sir. TP, what's up, my guy? What's up? Let's see. What else? You know what I'm smoking. Yes, sir. Yeah, me too. I think the OV picks kind of summed it up. Yeah, yeah, whatever. We're gonna talk a little bit more about that. I feel like it is what it is, and maybe that's what's gonna happen. I think we should find something out sooner than later. No pun intended. I think we should definitely find out sooner than later. It's one of those deals where, I mean, if you're Bo Bentley, if you really are committed or you want to be at Oklahoma, what reason do you have for not going ahead and making that commitment at this point? You had a good weekend. It seems like everything when it comes to all that kind of stuff, I would say that it seems to me like that's probably something that probably it could come down the pike at any point. I think that he's probably going to be announcing it at any point. So it will definitely affect whether or not, I guess, Jaden still. Well, I don't know if it affects Jaden O'Neal's official visit on the 20th at the Champ U Barbecue. He's supposed to be throwing on the 12th for OU as well. So unless they're pushing it back or something, unless Oklahoma is and maybe starting to lean the other way. For all you people that are jumping in my comment section and telling me that I'm crazy that they will take both of these elite level quarterbacks, no, they won't. Stop jumping in there and saying that shit to me, because you know damn well good and well that ain't true. And I know that we want to listen and believe every damn thing that comes out of that damn Switzer Center, but you can't, because even if they were willing to do that, which they're not, you know, they're because they would have to. I mean, I heard things about splitting money. Um, that ain't happening, right? And the money at both at well, I can just tell you this much. I've heard that the LSU money is significant for Bo, and I know that the FSU money is significant for Jaden O'Neal. So you're not getting away with that shit. Even if you think that you would do it, it would first of all be a stupid waste of money, because one of them's gone next year. No two ways around it. You know, they're gonna sit around. You're gonna pay them $1 million or more, and they're gonna not play more than likely. And then what? You know what I mean? And one of them is going to be gone. So you just wasted $1 million in this day and age. And we'll talk a little bit about this house settlement stuff in a little bit too. But in this day and age, you can't just throw millions of dollars away on nothing. And it's just not going to happen. So I'll just tell you, I mean, I'm getting kind of tired of the conversation that's ending up in my comment section like I'm just stupid or something like that. I don't tell you guys anything unless I know it. You know, I don't just sit here and speculate, do a bunch of speculation. I generally have an idea of what the hell I'm talking about, or I don't talk about it. You know what I mean? I just don't. But I don't think the two QBs would allow for both of them. That's exactly it. Even if Oklahoma wasn't full of shit right now on this situation, no, they wouldn't. No, they wouldn't. Neither one of them would do that. Yeah. Well, the thing is Bo's not going to be a starter probably at LSU next year either. I mean, chances are he could be, but he's going to wait a year either way. But the one thing that I've said about the way that the QB room kind of shakes out, if Mateer stays, okay, theoretically, you could see Hawkins going somewhere. Although I don't know that I really believe that he will at this point, because it would still only be another year. If he goes to where we keep hearing that he might go be like Ole Miss or somewhere like that, he's waiting on a guy that's in his first year, Austin Simmons. You know what I mean? So he's waiting a minimum of 2 years if he leaves, you know, at least to go to that one. You know, there's probably other situations, but I think that he would still be one of those dudes that I still feel like it's a better situation for, and really, you know, if you're waiting, you could be waiting a little while for what's his name there at LSU after Nuss is gone too. So I don't know. It kind of depends on what it is, you know, how it ends up turning out. I don't think anybody's going to start over Michael Hawkins next year either way. If Mateer is gone, I don't think you're starting over Michael Hawkins, but in the end, it just kind of depends on how everything turns out, I guess. It's just crazy. Yeah, listen, I appreciate that. And I'm not saying that I know more than Teddy and Gabe or any of that other kind of shit. I'm not saying all that. All I'm saying is I don't say silly shit that just doesn't make sense. You know what I mean? I'm not in the, not to like throw shade at anybody, but what some of the insiders that like to tell you that this is definitely going to happen and all this shit, when you know that kids change their mind. You know what I mean? All I know is that to me, you can get multiple quarterbacks. You're just not same level quarterbacks. You got to have project guys, things like that, in order to do it. Norman, really? You're killing me. Anyway, hold on. Let me let this dog out real quick. Here, I'm going to go ahead and run this commercial real quick. I'll be right back. Are you tired of your game day gear looking like it's stuck in the offseason? Well, step up your fandom with Hall of Fame College Football's official Fanatics partner store. Whether you're a diehard Oklahoma Sooners fan like myself, bleeding crimson and cream, or you rep another one of the SEC's heavy hitters, Fanatics has you covered. Shop thousands of officially licensed hats, jerseys, sideline polos, and exclusive championship merch from the entire Power 4 and Group of 6 too. All shipped directly to your doorstep and fast. Want to gear up like your favorite coaches and players? Are you looking for that perfect tailgate tee or a statement piece for your man cave? Fanatics is your one-stop shop for authentic college football gear from everybody that plays the game. So do yourself and your team a favor. Click our link in the description or simply log on to hofmedia.us/fanatics. That's hofmedia.us/fanatics. And you can shop everything that you want for the best prices of the day right on our Fanatics partner page. All right, I'm back. You better get over there and lay down. Hurry up. Damn dog, he don't listen to shit these days. Nothing. He wants airtime. Yeah, he wants to do something. It's been about a week of him being pretty damn crazy. I gotta be honest with you. Damn dog. I shake my head because there's not much you can do about it. He's a 145-pound lap dog. Norman, get out of the kitchen. Norman. Oh. All right. I'm for O'Neal. Listen, and here's the thing. I mean, I don't know if you guys saw that short. They had a scrimmage this past weekend with Owasso, and he was throwing some freaking lasers, dude. Some lasers. He's just got a different arm. I just don't understand the what you saw on the other side of it. I guess that'd be my question, but it continually that's what we're hearing, you know. Anyway, oh, I know why you're in that kitchen. Yeah, you know what? You guys, anybody who thinks that this dog doesn't have it his way, he had a steak last night. I had a freaking New York strip steak. So did Norman. So there you go. Benji says he's a silent Jason. Think he's waiting to make it publicly though, to maybe kick up more recruiting momentum. I don't know. At this point, we're gonna, I hadn't really talked to anybody from his family this weekend so much. So I'm just not gonna. I don't think anything has really changed though. To me, I think it's felt like to the O'Neal family that their second choice. They haven't, even after that visit to their home, where you brought in a bunch of people to talk about it. I don't think there's been a ton of communication going on since then. Oh, you think, Brandon? You think? No shit. No shit. Neilio, what's up, my guy? Norman, sit down right there. Sit down. Now. Looks at me like I'm speaking in tongues. Oh. Let's go coffee and football talk. All right. What's up there, Neilio? My guy, man, missed you Saturday night. Let's see. All right. Hey, man, Bob, I appreciate that, my guy. We're not going to get both. They're both studs. I won't be mad with either. And I'm not mad at listen, to be honest with you, I'm not saying that I don't think that Bo Bentley's good. I do think he's good. I think he's good. I just don't think that the arm talent-wise, I don't think it's really close. I just don't. And then, to be honest, this idea that that he's a better runner than Jaden is, he may run more frequently, but I don't know that I would think that he's a better runner. I just don't think that, to be quite honest with you. But we'll see, man. I mean, it is what it is. Time to take Norman to daycare. I mean, listen. Shit, man. Could you imagine the daycare dudes that are going to have to do that, though? He's such a monster. I'm going to have to figure this out. I've got to do a better job of training him because he just doesn't really listen much. But, all right. So, let's see. We're going to welcome into the show from Sooners 360, our friend, Mr. Chris Mason. What's up, Mr. Mason? How you doing, sir?
I'm doing good. It's recruiting season. We actually have real recruiting news to talk about. So
Listen, it's starting to picking up steam around here, man. Tell us about it. Let's talk. We'll get into the Jaden O'Neal and Bo Bentley stuff in a minute if you want, but let's talk about this new the new commitment that they got yesterday. And then I want to get into this new medical trainer, head trainer or whatever that they hired to. So
okay.
get into that stuff. So what do you got?
Well, first off, I mean they had a really good recruiting weekend. First off, everybody who was supposed to come in came in, so that's always a win. No last minute cancellations. No guys deciding that they didn't want to let OU have their shot, because with OU's policy of kind of waiting until June to bring everyone in, you always run the risk that kids will fall in love with the place and you'll never get a chance to put your message across. Like, that's what happened with some of the SMU kids. They lost, there's a Florida safety they were interested in, and he chose Florida last weekend. So there's always a risk by waiting this long that you're never going to get your message in front of the kids, right? So they went 100% of the kids that were supposed to come in came in and attended. So that was the first big win. And then Matthew Nelson, the defensive end from Arkansas, he's 6'5". He may actually be a little bit taller than that, I think. He's around 215 pounds, and that seems light to folks, but he's a track star, so he kind of keeps his weight down because he's doing the 60-meter and 110-meter hurdles. He posts really good times track wise. So you just can't have extra bulk like that. I mean, he can't run track at 6'5", 260, right? It just doesn't work that way. I mean, the only guy that sort of pulled that off is that South Carolina kid, Nicholas Harbor, and he's not really.
Well, he's more of a Olympic speed guy than he is a football player. So it's
Yeah, at this point he is. He hasn't really. I mean, it hasn't really. The measurables haven't shown out. So so once he focuses on football, I think the weight will easily add. He has a huge frame,
right?
Big wingspan. He's teammates with Ja'Cory Smith at Bryant High School in Arkansas.
Nice.
His film last year, he's raw, but you can see his motor doesn't stop. He's constantly attacking. He's always around the play. He's attacking. If the play's going in the other direction, he is pursuing. There's so much. Nicholas is not running track this season. Okay,
I'd heard that too. But
he needs to, if he wants to get his NFL career going at wide receiver. He needs to focus on something.
I don't understand why they haven't hit him off the line and shit and let's see what he can do with that speed. All they ever do is try to throw deep balls to him.
Yeah, it's odd with his size as well, his power. So Nelson is obviously, this is a bet on your development and coaching process, right? You bring him in, hopefully enrolls early, and you hope over the next, 14 months, by the time he could actually play a football game for OU, that you've gotten some weight on him. He's gone through a full year of conditioning and training, and maybe his arrival date is, the following fall, because OU does have some defensive end depth. So I think what OU fans need to adjust to is that when you're adding players that you think are going to be 2 years away from having an impact, you don't necessarily want to be spending all of your salary cap dollars on guys that are sitting and developing.
Correct.
So a lot of people are asking, well, why are we taking this guy? KJ Ford's ranked higher and he's a better player. And I'm like, okay, well,
No doubt.
No doubt. Right now, he
Are
is.
they out on KJ Ford now because of it?
KJ Ford is visiting Florida and USC. I think he's looking elsewhere, and by the time he makes OU could circle back to him, but I think with Nelson, they lead, I believe, for Jake Krull. That's generally the understanding, and he comes in on the 20th.
Yeah.
And then they've got these two other Florida guys, DeAnthony Lafayette and Daniel Norman, who are both visiting that weekend as well. OU could have 3 defensive end commits by August 1st, and KJ Ford has never visited Norman. And depending upon how everything goes, OU may not have a spot for him.
Benji keeps saying that he sucks.
He's the Nelson or KJ Ford?
KJ Ford.
I like KJ Ford on film. Krull's obviously has better film. And Ford plays on a D line with like 4, power 4/power 5 kind of prospects.
Coach Top.
So, I like Ford on film. If you got KJ Ford, I'd be fine with that. But the question would be, I think Jake Krull could contribute year 1 at OU. When you look at him fundamentally and him physically, even as a situational pass rusher, I think Jake Krull could help you year 1. Could KJ Ford,
even though they're still going to be pretty loaded in that room?
Yeah, but Krull's that good. I mean, in terms of a pass rusher, right?
Yeah,
when you watch Jake Krull shove around 320-pound, the best offensive tackles in high school football that they put in front of him at these combines, and he's just eating their lunch in drills. I mean, they can't keep a hand on him. He's shoving them around. I mean, the only guy that ever kept a hand on him was the DJ Sanders kid last year, who was a year ahead of him and went to Tennessee. And he and Fasusi were probably the 2 best high school offensive tackles last year. So yeah, I think Nelson he's a great development fit. His measurables are NFL kind of measurables, right? So that Nagy found this guy. The Nagy staff found this film, offered him, and he has NFL measurables. I mean, he's taller, longer than KJ Ford.
Sure.
He's taller, longer than Jake Krull, for that matter. I mean, he's every bit 6'5" with a huge wingspan.
Right.
If you let him develop, and we're now getting a better feel that Miguel Chavis is developing defensive ends, and we know Todd Bates is lockstep with him in that kind of process.
Right.
I think it's not hard to imagine, fall of 27. I know that's kind of ridiculous to say right now, but fall of 27, that Matt Nelson is part of the defensive end rotation at 6'5", 250, with elite athleticism, burst, and twitch, which you just can't coach, really. And he's now part of the defensive end rotation. And instead of, I keep using this example, let's just say KJ Ford costs you, from a salary cap purpose, $200K, right? Well, let's say KJ Ford sits for 2 years. That's like $400K of money that's sunk.
Well, and what we do know, I mean, I'm going to tell you that I don't believe that this new structure and all that stuff is going to mean that you can't still spend NIL money, because I've never heard of such a thing that you can't pay players, or you can't pay somebody whatever the fuck you want for an endorsement. Especially without collective bargaining, by the way.
But
before we get off into that,
but there's always going to be a salary cap, right?
I do think absolutely, and I know that you're not wanting to be out there. You're going to have some project kids, right? You're going to have some kids that, and if you're going to do that, I love the fact that you have a scouting department like what Jim Nagy has now, to be able to kind of go out and look for the type of guys that could turn into something really special, but they are a piece of clay at the moment, right?
I mean, I think we need to start looking at our recruiting classes more the way you build a draft class.
Yeah.
Right. And that some of those guys, the best NFL teams they are very productive in the third, fourth, fifth rounds of the draft, right? This is where they make their money. I mean, first round picks get all the glamour, but if you're an NFL roster, you have to hit on third, fourth, and fifth round picks from a salary cap perspective of guys that you can bring in, coach up, and max and they could have to overplay their draft rankings.
Sure.
Right.
Sure.
So when you're OU and you want to give first round money to Jake Krull, you want to try at least to give first round money to Felix Ojo. You want to give first round money to Davion Gross, whether that's NIL, the revenue cap, whatever, Jason. There's going to be a pool of money that you have to spend, right? Somewhere in between there, right? However all this all shakes down, there's going to be a finite pool that OU has, and you've got to figure out where you're putting that money, right? And with the high school guys, every high school guy that you spend $500K on your salary cap on, who are sitting and not playing, are hurting you.
It's hurting you, no doubt.
It is. So that's a new rationale. So when you're thinking about building a recruiting class, think about the draft class, right? Think about the positions that have better money that you want to spend. Someone like, so let's just move to like 2027 for just a brief second before we get back to the guys that I think OU made a big jump on and are close to committing. So, the 2027 name that we've all heard is Cooper Witten, right?
Yeah.
He's Jason Witten's son. He's the number one linebacker in the country, 5-star from Dallas.
Love him, yeah.
Jason loves DeMarco. They're tight. They're tight as anybody.
Yeah.
If he's not going to go play for his dad's alma mater, probably he's playing at OU, right? Linebacker for Brent.
Yeah, where did Jason play at?
Tennessee.
Oh, yeah, Tennessee.
Okay. So if he's not going to Tennessee to play at his dad's alma mater, I think OU is provided they don't have a change in coaching staff and any of that nonsense with the bad season that we're not going to dwell on because we're not bring those bad vibes. But Cooper Witten is like 6'3", 220, runs like a safety, could easily carry 230, 235 pounds, running like, his dad ran like an absurd 4.5 at like 6'6", 250 coming out of Tennessee. So you've got a player like that, right?
The dude was stupid good, man.
Yeah. And so you've got a player like that, right? So whose measurables, film, everybody in the free world says he's awesome. Nagy and all the evaluators will have all chances to evaluate him. So you decide that he's worth first round money, right? And I'm like,
sure,
okay,
absolutely. And then number one linebacker in the country, of course.
And then the Cooper Witten is he enrolls early, right? Because Jason understands these processes. He's in great physical shape, and all of a sudden he hits the field and the linebacker 2 deep the moment he's on campus, right? That's what you want to spend your big money on. You don't want to spend it on, a guy who is, why aren't we? So when you're wondering why OU's not competing for some guys, it's because Nagy is already slotting guys and evaluating guys in this model so that OU is not caught short like they were this spring when they had some weird issues. Everyone's going to get slotted right.
Sure.
Everyone's going to get taken care of. So I think that's the big picture of where we need to understand OU recruiting moving forwards, right? Everyone's like, well, he's like a 5.7 3-star. And I'm like, well, Austin English was a 5.7 3-star. Jeremy Beal was a 5.7 3-star. Right. Isaiah Thomas was a 5.7 3-star. And these are all guys that, I'd take any one of them today, right?
Oh, yeah.
So that's where you just need to view. If you need dev time for a kid, it's better to get the kid with the best measurables, who has the longest runway, and you can get at the best value. I mean,
can get that's the word of the day right there is value. It's value, because not everybody are you going to get value on, and in this day, like you said, regardless of whatever happens, I mean, the NIL money's going to go high for the high end dudes that are ready to play today. They're transfer dudes, whatever, right? If you're a 5-star type or whatever it is and you've already proven it, that's where your big money's going to go. But yeah, I think that value is the name of the game. And it's, if you just because you have the most amount of money, we've seen the most amount of money not win shit.
Ole Miss.
Absolutely. I mean, finally, Ohio State did last year, but they spent buku's money. But it was also, I think that it was more what they spent on retention.
That's the point. They got Judkins, and they brought in the K-State quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
But for the biggest part though is that they retained all those other guys, Henderson, all those other guys. So that's a big picture. I just want to let OU fans know you need to start wrapping your head around value and building a roster from recruiting, not just signing 25 guys that you want, right? Not the 25 highest guys you want. Nagy's looking at depth charts, and projection of players, when players might leave early for draft and stuff like that. So it's a much bigger picture. So, but OU had a bunch of kids in, and we've already seen a number of crystal balls in for players beyond Matthew Nelson. So the first name is Noah Best, the offensive lineman from Midlothian. OU had a lead, maintained that lead, and looks like they're probably going to close out that recruiting at some point.
The guard, he's the guard, like 6'4".
Yeah, he's 6'4", 290, Jason, but he's so lean looking at 6'4", 290. Like, he'll add 20, 30 pounds without a problem. Yeah. Without a problem. And he's very good. He's a mauler as well. He could be a center. He could be an offensive guard for the Sooners. I think he has some serious flexibility that way.
Right.
And then the next guy that I think OU made a big move on is Davion Gross, the wide receiver from Frisco Lone Star, who is a borderline 5-star. And he's 6'3", 190 pounds, speed, agility for days, playmaking for days. He has strong family connections back to OU. His mom's family are all Sooner fans. I don't think it was a accident that Davion Gross was and his mom was photographed with Barry Switzer. If your family is OU fans and OU alums, a photo with the Switz, that's big time, right? I mean,
no doubt. No doubt.
So
it's like Landry Jones. There was no doubt that he was going to Oklahoma. I mean, I was around him in high school when he was in high school. And his parents were OU people. There wasn't a question. Everybody was recruiting him, but it wasn't a question. Sometimes it just works out that way,
So and then Tyler Ruxer, the tight end from Indiana, it looks like he's announcing on July 7th. Looks like OU grabbed a big lead there. I anticipate he'll be a Sooner. That will give OU 2 quality, two-way high school tight ends that know the position, have good size, good athleticism. The other guy is Ryder Mix, who's at Frisco Lone Star with Davion Gross. And they're both 6'4", 220, 230 right now. You can put 15 pounds on them. They know how to block, and they are physical blockers. But the Ruxer kid is an excellent wide receiver. He probably is somewhere in the 4'6", 4'6'5" territory. He had nearly 900 yards receiving off 40 catches last year. And I know his Indiana level of play may be low, but when you're dominating it like that, it just matters, right? When you can take 40, if you're the prime wide receiver in your offense, everyone knows it, and you're still getting, you're still catching the ball that often, and you're averaging over 20 yards of reception and from the tight end spot. It says that you're dominating your opponent. The next guy I think OU probably grabbed a huge lead on, and a verbal is probably in somewhere in the next two weeks that there have been crystal balls on, is Braxton Lindsey, the other linebacker from Arkansas. He's 6'3", 220. You see him, he's a big kid.
He's a stud too, yeah.
And he's a serious athlete.
Mm-hmm.
He may I don't know if he takes another visit or not, but OU needed a big middle linebacker in this class to complement the will linebacker they got in Ja'Cory Smith. They're both from Arkansas. So's Matthew Nelson. So OU could end up with 3 players from Arkansas.
They've been doing really well in that state the last few years, man.
Well, Arkansas just is a dumpster fire with Pittman, right? And and then and the connections are Ja'Cory Smith to Matthew Nelson, Ja'Cory Smith back to Omarion Robinson. So now you're building a little bit of a pipeline, right? So Ja'Cory Smith, had backed off OU a little bit. Dryling came in, re-engaged, and then Ja'Cory spent spring ball talking to Omarion. Omarion's like, "We look great," and I'm playing. It's the defense is great. So those things matters to guys. Sometimes you don't get high school teammates, but when they're separated by a year, sometimes that's better than if they're in the same class, right? Because you get the guy gets it. The guy sees the culture, sees what's going on with the team. So Matthew Nelson has a younger brother who's like 6'2", 6'3", 220. And could also be like a stand-up linebacker or maybe a Mike linebacker. So I think Matthew Nelson may pay off into his brother as well if OU offers. Just off topic, you and I big fans of Torrey Blaylock. We've been hearing great things about Torrey.
Yeah.
His younger brother just ran the fastest time at an A&M camp last weekend. He's a cornerback, 6'1", 6 foot, 180 pounds, and he ran a 4.45.
Yeah,
and so he's going to be in camping at OU this week. I'd be stunned if OU doesn't offer him. And with how much Derek has liked what's gone on with Torrey at OU, I think that could be an early verbal if OU makes that offer because he's 6'1", 180, 170.
And he's a 27 kid?
He's a 27 kid. Trent Blaylock. So,
Trent.
So that's, to connect the whole brother in different classes kind of story there.
They love that shit, man. So that works.
Yeah. So the big surprise, there's lots of names here and, we can come back to some comments if fans have if commenters have particular guys want me to talk about. The last name that I think is a surprise where OU's making massive momentum is Danny Odom from Orlando, Florida. He's a 6'2", 180-pound cornerback. He is ranked in the top 100 of Rivals right now, and they previously had him ranked like as a 5.5 3-star. So they bumped him way up based upon really evaluating him correctly. OU's been looking for a cornerback prospect all class, and Nagy's influence, I think, has been playing a role. As Nagy's basically like, look at
you got to have longer guys. You got to have.
Well, and look at our roster, right? Don't bring in a 5'9" guy. I've got too many.
We already got those cats. Yeah, we already have them. Yeah.
And we've already got big cornerbacks. They'll never see the field. Bring me a guy with NFL measurables. Can you hold Ben G's comment right there? I'll get right back to it.
Yeah.
Derek, so I think OU's kind of shocked some folks and have made a real move for Danny Odom. I think they'll only take one cornerback, and they would love Odom to be that guy. So you'd add to last year's cornerback class, we have Tristan Haynes, who's 6'2", 180 pounds probably now, and just a burner. You've got Cortland Guillory, who everyone thought had a fantastic spring.
And he's 6'1", isn't he?
Yeah, he's a big kid. He's 6'1", 185, 190 pounds. Then you got Malik Hawkins, who they're trying to see if he can be like the next Dolby Cheetah kind of guy, who you could also move back. So, but if you add Odom,
both of those Hawkins kids look fantastic right now, at least body wise.
Did you see the weightlifting stuff they showed? And Sam O looks, and obviously your friend
and Reggie
Powers looks
golly
like what are they feeding him? Rhino steroids or something? I don't know,
man. I'm telling you, yeah.
So, but anyway, to get back to the comments, so Benji, good question. So Luke Waffle just visited Penn State. He doesn't have an OU official visit on the board. I think the writing on the wall is that he's going to join his brother Owen Waffle at Penn State. If OU had gotten Owen Waffle in the transfer portal, I think they would have been in great shape to get Luke. Yeah. But Owen visited OU, was super high, and then he saw Jaden Jackson, David Stone, and and I know the OU's depth, and he just saw that and was like, I need to go somewhere else. I want to get on the field. So sometimes your depth hurts you in the portal, right? Like you come in, same thing at cornerback this spring, right? OU's cornerback depth meant that they couldn't find a spring portal cornerback that they really liked. So, but again, if they could pick up Danny Odom, go to Florida, pick him up, that if they can win that recruiting battle and get one cornerback that's got size and elite athleticism, love that. Shut it down. I get a couple more in 2027 when you've got some better kids to look at. Montre Jackson from Dallas area has been to OU like 6 times. Talon Mayo is at Louisville. We know OU gets kids from Louisville, or it's always super competitive for them. He's a 6'3" cornerback. And then there's the in-state kid, Bryce Brown, in the Tulsa area. I think he's at Owasso. He may have changed schools. He may be at Broken Arrow. Who's also 6 foot, 5'11", 6 foot, 180 pounds, really good looking cornerback. So the problem with the composite 247 is that none of them are ranking Nelson. He's unranked. So basically he drops your average because it's like a 0. Right? They literally don't have a ranking for him. They've not evaluated him at all. So other than Rivals, who has him as a 5'7" 3-star, which puts him around like 500, 550 in the country.
Right.
You got a 0. You have a 0 score for him on 3 and 247. So his 247 composite number's low. And then on 3 is doing this. They're ranking based upon your top 7 or 8 commits right now. Well, OU only has 8 commits. So you add a 0 to the previous average of 7 and, to the points you had with your other guys, and it's lower. So on Rivals, where he actually has a score, let me check the recruiting rankings. OU was like 38th at some point. Their team rankings.
Yeah, and listen, and this is what, if you've been watching us with K Chris and stuff like that, this is what Mr. Mason's talked about for a while, that Oklahoma fans are going to have to get ready to make a shift until you start seeing that these recruiting sites are shifting the way that they're going about it. And they're going to shift some because obviously you've got the Rivals and On3 merge and all that kind of stuff. They do things definitely different, like what Ben G was just saying. But you gotta look at it in terms of, you better take the word of an actual scouting staff that's actually going to scout. You got to remember that a lot of the recruiting services, it's not that hard to get the top 200, right? It's damn sure not that hard to get the top 50. Because they're around everywhere. Everybody's seen them. There's enough people that'll tell you who they are. But the difference is, where you find value is those guys that haven't been to every camp and you don't know anything. But like Mr. Nelson here, long, he can put on weight. He's going to be a stud. He's going to be a stud. He may be a project guy, but that's where you're going to have to find some ability in the margins. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for example, On3's rankings right now are based upon the 10 best commits you have.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. Well, OU has 8 commits.
Right.
So
they're way down. Yeah, it doesn't
and they don't have Nelson ranked at all.
Right.
So
right.
So basically OU has 7 guys. So OU has 33.
Who's to say that they don't re-rank them now that they've? If you remember when PJ was a 2-star whenever they offered him, and he turns into a 5-star within a couple of months.
Right, but the main point I'm saying actually is, so OU has 7 guys. So OU's ranked 34th on 3, but they only have 33% of the possible score.
Yeah.
So you add Noah Best, you add Braxton Lindsey, and you add Davion Gross or Danny Odom, and then all of a sudden OU's score will put them into the top 20 again because they'll actually have 10 guys to evaluate.
Right.
So
it's going to come down to towards the end until you get those major targets. They kind of work themselves out for who you're going to. Yeah.
until OU has 20 commits, there's no point looking at rivals rankings.
What you have to look at is their average ranking if you're going to look at it right now.
Yeah, you have to look at the average ranking and see where they are. And right now, OU's got a, if I do by average, the pure average, and I do that, then OU is it's like number 15 in the country.
Yeah.
And that's where OU's class is going to lie. I mean, let's not.
Yeah, well, and that's what you hear stupid stuff from people like Okie Light fans. They have to get all their guys now because none of the 4 and 5 star dudes are looking at them. You know what I mean? Come on.
You could have 20 verbals 4 weeks ago if they offered the right kids.
Yeah,
who would just verbal immediately. But they're
just like USC. I mean, damn, they've got 29 commitments.
Yeah, and they paid for every one of them. So
yeah, no doubt.
I mean, and their class is number one.
But it is number one in like average by a lot.
But in average, they're 2 spots away from OU by average right now, right? Yeah. And OU has nothing but guys. The majority of the guys moving forward, the majority of these guys are composite. There's a lot of composite 4.
Yeah.
High. A couple of top 100 players, like I talked about, Jake Krull. And
you get a guy like Jake Krull, it shoots up. You get it.
Yeah, it's the way it works. It's just and we'll see what happens when rivals and On 3 try and the analysts try and merge and rationalize. Well, I think this guy's the number 2 player in the nation. Well, I think he's number 113.
Yeah,
I mean,
if I'm Sheldon Terry, I'm trying to get connected with the Jim Nagy's of the world right now.
Right. I mean, OU just hired Lake Dawson over the weekend.
Yeah. Big move.
Veteran NFL.
Yeah.
Scouts college players, nothing but scouting
25 years, man. 25 years.
And if you don't, I remember Lake Dawson in college. He was a hell of a player as well. So
he was.
And he had an NFL career. So, it's a little bit, he knows the game. He knows what he's looking for, and he's been scouting and evaluating it. So, a lot of people Nagy's taking some hits. Some people don't like some of the kids he's dropped or has refocused on. And I'm like, guys, this is a sausage. First off,
you're watching the sausage being made right now.
Yeah, and a common fallacy in all endeavors, making judgments off one data point.
Yeah,
right. You have one data point. You need a lot more, right? So, and even if he misses, even if Mason James hopefully goes to Arizona State and doesn't go anywhere that OU plays on a regular basis, and he's great, it doesn't mean Nagy's wrong because, Nagy's basing a lot of what going on at wide receiver, what happened to OU last year, which was in the Big 12 where it's more wide open and the refs call PI if you just breathe on somebody. Smaller,
unless you're Oklahoma.
Unless you're Drake. Let's just call it what it is. Unless you're Drake Stoops in the freaking end zone of Stillwater and you're getting mugged by a guy 5 seconds.
Brett Yormark's in the building.
Yeah, but overall, OU has made hay on like the small slot guys, right? But in the SEC, with bigger cornerbacks, with better athleticism, and the ref saying, "Hey, let them play," I think the smaller wide receivers, you've got to be an absolute burner to be what OU's going to end up evaluating and taking. And I think
that's the rest of the SEC too, right? A bunch of long guys that have some speed and but definitely can get up and get those 50-50 balls or whatever you want to call. I mean, you got to be able to do that. Take hits across the middle. You need to be able to do that. If you got a guy like Satangna, you obviously having a guy like, I mean, come on, Deion Burks. If he's healthy, he's a weapon. He's a weapon.
I mean, you
can get him hurt.
Yeah, and you've got to have big guys to complement them. You got to have big guys to complement them. So, It's it was a good weekend. The wild cards really for the weekend. Probably players like Desmond Green, the big offensive guard from South Carolina. Uh, he's been in Norman several times. Sometimes these guys click with Bill, and Bill just gets them right. And you never kind of know. Sometimes they they don't click with Bill, and you lose out because they're like, wow, this guy's really not. This is how tough he is, and some guys just shy away from that. But Desmond Green would be a big pickup. He would sort of make up for the fact they lost Toa Katoa.
Mm-hmm.
And then a guy I'm not sure where OU is on him, but he's a fascinating prospect. Is Elijah Golden from Florida. Notre Dame and Vatech are probably the other schools involved. He's 6'4", 270, 265. Could he be a big defensive end for OU? Yes. Could he be a lightning quick 285, 290 three tech? Yes. He's top 250 right now. I watch his film and see maybe a player who's closer to top 100, like Trent Wilson last year. And I've don't underestimate Todd Bates to lock down kids when he has a chance to really spend lots of time with them. He's a very good recruiter. Robert Bacon.
That's exactly
right.
what he's talking about.
Yeah, I mean, so Brian Harris, the guy they verbaled earlier, who no one really knew was 6'4", 290.
If you haven't watched his film by now, and you're still doing this, he was a 3-star. Go watch this kid. Go watch him.
He's in the backfield all the time.
He lives there.
So, but Golden's like that as well. Tavion Branch deciding midweek. OU, Rutgers, or Penn State. Not really sure kind of where that's going down. Hopefully Todd Bates won that battle this week. He was just at a combine in socks, 6'4", 295, ran a 4.95 40, and ran a 1.76 which is almost more important.
Right.
That's defensive.
No, it's quick speed. It's the speed that you need, in the trenches.
And that's defensive end speed.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he's going to be 6'4", 320, like in an instant. I mean, imagine Dejon Terry, who ran a 5'4", 5'5", 40. I love Dejon Terry, but that's just athletically where he was, right? But imagine
he was just a strong dude. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but imagine Dejon Terry running like a 5'0", 40.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what Tavion Branch could be for you. The other D-line wild card was Teron Richardson from Virginia. He's 6'5", 275, 280.
You guys, are you seeing a pattern here?
Yeah, I mean, so this is, everyone's like, why is OU not? I mean, if you we won't repeat this too much if you listen to our live stream on Friday night, but everyone's asking why OU isn't closing on Deuce Geralds, right?
Because he's not good enough.
Well, he's very good.
He's good, but he's probably hit pretty close to his ceiling at this point.
Possibly, but he's 6'1", 270. Okay?
And that's not who he wants. That's not who Jim Nagy wants. Clearly.
Yeah. So that's not what that's not what the NFL wants at defensive tackle. Look at the D tackles that were drafted. The Mason Graham guy was like 6'3", 6'4". Yep. The other Michigan guy, 6'3", 6'4". Those are the top 10 picks.
And Deuce may be great. I mean, I'm just saying, obviously
they got a type. But he's bulked up, man. He's in great shape. He's a big guy who's bulked up already. But he also, with Ole Miss needing him badly, he's also going to cost you so much more money. The salary cap number, however we want to call that, I'm just going to call it the salary cap number to kind of get our fans used to that. For Deuce Geralds, probably allows you to get Teron Richardson, Tavion Branch, and Elijah Golden. You can get all three of those guys for what it would have cost to get Deuce Geralds. And Todd Bates' development process is pretty much locked down. Every D tackle since Bates has been on campus has improved year over year.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just a fact. It's just Grayson Holton this year will be better than last year, right? Dominic Williams will be better this year than he was last year.
And I don't think he was bad last year.
He wasn't, So, but David Stone, the whole reason why Jason freaked out over David Stone being in the portal was he may have been the best defender and the most improved player on the roster at spring. And this is Todd Bates.
Yeah, I was losing my shit over that.
You were a little bit, understandably. But this is where, why are we signing these 3 D tackles who all are 4-star by one service that are all 6'4", 285 pounds and quick? Why are we signing
That's an NFL measurable.
Well, that's what freaking NFL and SEC.
It's exactly what they want.
Defensive tackles look like. And if you have 3 of them, maybe they don't all pan out. But if 2 of them do, then you've got 2 guys instead of 1 guy.
Absolutely.
So that's kind of what's going on. So,
and I think Greg's probably right here too. Is that Nagy wants depth on the roster? That's what we were talking about. The whole thing with Nelson is he's probably a project guy that's 2 years out, but you're not going to be paying him $200,000 a year either.
Right, which means so the $150K you save there, gives you more money to make sure you get Jake Krull and make a run at Felix Ojo. And maybe Texas goes stupid on that number, and they probably need to from their fan base because of the whole Fasusi nonsense last year, and they got shut out on all those guys. But if that 150, so let's just say Texas offers X, right? And OU is so Robo 77. Aaron Donald is the outlier. He's not. You can't go with you.
Yeah, I mean, Aaron Donald's one of the greatest to ever even play football. So let's not go by his measurables. It's measure everything else. Measure his damn arms. The size of those fucking arms and those shoulders. I mean,
and his burst.
A little different, bro. It's a little different.
But also, the Kansas City guy whose name escapes me from Mississippi State, how big is he?
Oh, Chris
Jones. Chris Jones.
Chris Jones is a monster, 6'5".
He's 6'4", 6'5", 315, right?
Yeah.
The guy that just
and he's the next. He's the best now. Right,
he's the best now. And the guy who signed with the Raiders from Miami, from Clemson. There was the guy that it was. I don't remember his off the top of the head, but he's 6'4", 6'5".
Yeah.
Right, and then you look at all the best defensive tackles in the NFL; they are all 6'3", 6'4".
Yeah, sometimes you get a guy that's 6'2" and 350, and he plugs up a hole pretty good or whatever. I mean, those guys are there. They're great.
But Nagy's looking at 3 down defensive tackles, right? You don't leave the field. He wants 3 down guys. Again, I mean, Jason Vilma was an all-pro linebacker at 6'3", 220, 230?
Yeah.
But he's the only guy doing it. I mean, are there elite 5'9" cornerbacks in the NFL? Yes. But
they don't come along all the time. And that's why, or even safeties. You look at Billy Bowman. I mean, I think he's got an opportunity to be one of the better safeties in the NFL, but he was still a 5th rounder.
Well, yeah, he dropped. If he had been Billy Bowman is a top 15 pick if he's 6'1", 200.
You're not, Rob. Nobody's saying that you can't be shitty if you're 6'5", 285. But if obviously they're gonna go after the guys that are already looking like they're that dude too. By the way, they already have done that. I mean, you were just talking about what's his name that you just got last week or whatever, the defensive line guy.
Yeah, Brian
Harris, stud. Right now, he was a little underrated, but if you will look at his film, he just hasn't been seen enough yet by everybody else. He's probably going to bump up when they see everything now that he's committed and everything else, he's going to bump up in the rankings. But we're talking about if they're gonna go after project guys that don't necessarily cost a ton of money. He's identifying guys that at least have NFL traits. That's what he's doing. And if you can get them for the right value, that's the point. You have to get value for some of these cats. And you know what? For all this, I think everybody's gotten so hung up on the stars for so. I mean, it's been going on for now, what, 25 years is when they started doing this shit. But we're so caught up on stars, but we forget that the 3 stars are the guys that are the lifeblood of your program, without a doubt. And especially now in a pay-for-play era where you have to pay everybody. I mean, they've paid football players before, but not the masses didn't get paid.
Well, I mean, for example, let's just use an example, right? OU signs 3 5-star wide receivers. Theo Weiss,
And none of them are good.
Hazelwood,
Yeah.
and Trey Bridges.
And which one of them was good?
And Marvin Mims is a low 4-star, high 3-star the following season.
He cooked them all.
He clipped them all, and he's an old pro, and he's probably going to make bank on his next NFL contract. I mean, these are just facts, right? I mean, now sometimes
second rounder for a reason.
And Luther burdens do exist, right? Sometimes 5 stars are 5 stars, but it's a game of, if you sign T-Ron Richardson for $50K, let's just say that, and he sits and develops for 2 years because you have D-line depth you've been working on, and then as a redshirt sophomore, he's in your 2 deep, and he's 6'5", 315, and Todd Bates has been coaching him up night and day. The odds that he might, and his ceiling is there's still runway there. This is one of the fascinating things that came out on recently. Somebody did an analysis of the top ranked players, and they figured out that the younger kids who enter college when they're 17, right, or turn 18 their freshman year, those guys are generally more successful than the guys who are 19-year-old freshmen. So by the way, you said Levon Kirkland was a 300-pound linebacker. He doesn't play today. The NFL's changed. You need to have,
there's a lot of lean. I mean, even a lot of the defensive ends these days aren't very big. They're tall and they got big wingspan and they're fast. It's a different game for sure.
It's a different game, and so think
you got to be able
this.
to cover because we're throwing so much.
So
5 receiver sets.
So you want 3 down running backs, right? Mm-hmm. You don't want to sub a running back out as a specialist. You want a 3 down running back. You want a 3 down defensive ends and defensive tackles. You don't want to have to situationally sub out guys. This is why David Stone at 315 will play some nose guard, because you'll put Holton next to him, and that'll be your pass rush duo. And to keep Jaden Jackson healthy, to give him a break.
They have to do that. That's why the hell they're 7-8 deep in those 2 positions.
Yeah, but
Marcus Strong been killing it. I mean,
yeah, he looks big. He looks huge. I mean, so this is the stuff Nagy's doing, and you could make lots of attacks at Nagy if you want, but you can't fault the guys he's hiring.
No.
His hires have been great. I mean, it is a stacked room of NFL, and he's added some high school guys and college guys to blend and to blend out the experience level. But you cannot,
that's absolutely correct.
You can, and it's even more important with a 14 or 16 team playoff. I mean, you're no longer playing one game. Yeah,
you're going to play 17 games to if you want to win an Addy.
So you've got to add depth, and you can't just, at some point, you just can't keep spending on every player.
Bryce, that's not even. You know what? I wouldn't even say that that's always. It's even more times true than not. Because the 4 and 5 star guys, Bryce, they're not all 4 and 5 star dudes. And I would tell you that all the 3 stars are not all 3 stars. Trent Richardson comes to mind. Orlando Brown comes to mind.
Well, I mean, with Aaron Colvin, I mean, OU's littered. I mean, Travis Lewis.
Shit.
I mean, just guys that OU has always made bank on finding 4 stars and high 3 stars and making
The
them.
truth is the guys that are the top 200 are at all these camps. That's why they all get those rankings. It's easy to find out that who's out of all those guys, the 500 or 600 dudes that go to camps, that it's not that hard to pick out the top 100.
I mean, like Sauce Gardner at Cincinnati. Was he at Cincinnati?
Come on,
That's
bro.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, what was he? I mean, the glaring example, Ashton Jeanty is like a 5'4", no one offer, right? And he's in OU's backyard at Lone Star Frisco.
Yeah, he was.
You can't tell me Ashton Jeanty wouldn't have helped the Sooners the last 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so you can find talent. I mean, but you don't. But the other thing that's going to the thing that's going to end up happening
is they can drop you so quick. Marcus Dent. Guys, think about Isaiah Autry Dent. The guy is 6'7", 320 pounds. If he's healthy, believe me, he's going to be in the 2 deep at one of those tackles.
Yeah.
Because he's a monster. And the reason that he dropped from a high 4-star to like the highest 3 was because he stopped talking to reporters. He stopped going to camps after he committed to OU. They didn't care about doing any of that. It cost money to do all that shit. Why go whenever you know where you want to go? They lost it. He lost himself money doing that. And but in the end, it is, if you sit there and really believe that it's that much of a science, you're losing. You're losing your mind. And if it's so easy to do it, if you just get a bunch of 5 stars, then what the fuck is Texas A&M?
Well, and the other thing is, you're right, is that none of these processes are transparent and have any rigor around them. They don't. So, they just don't. So, do you want to jump and talk about this med staff update?
Hey, yeah, let's do that. And then, yeah, let's do that. Talk to me about that, because that's the biggest look. I think that our roster is as good as it's been in a long time. A long time. Now, you lost some of the rosters as far as receivers are concerned. I don't know that you didn't. If Giovanni Gibson is back healthy when this is all said and done, I think you probably upgraded there with him.
At a minimum, it's a push.
Right.
I mean, Gibson Anderson is
and
a
then
push.
Now you've had, you go and add Jaden Ott, you do some of these other things. You still haven't figured out the tight end situation yet, but I get it. But I think that roster-wise, I think you're good to go. The quarterback room is in fantastic shape. I wouldn't trade our quarterback room for anybody's right now.
The depth-wise, no.
No.
I mean, I think Hawk, if he had to step up, will step up and play really well.
Yeah.
If you had to make him the starter. And we got a good backup behind him. The Mercer kid at 3 is he won't stay on OU's roster that long. Someone will realize, yeah, okay, Arbuckle coaching this guy with his arm and all that.
Yeah.
Throw some cash at him and let's give him a starting job. So,
yeah, listen, he seems a lot like what Mateer was when he got to Washington State.
So, exactly. So, we'll see how it all shakes out. But overall, I think, the injury stuff, it was so bizarre.
That's more concerning than any of this stuff.
All right, so let's talk about what OU did, right? So we know the problems, right? We've seen the problems.
Yeah. We don't have to keep regurgitating.
What has OU done? So George Stoya has this story. It's on Sooner Scoop. All credit to George.
Yeah,
George does a great job covering the program and getting the information.
He does.
So they hired. So I don't think it's
better than Parker for sure.
So OU is hiring former New Orleans Saints director of rehabilitation, Jonathan Gresh, as its head football trainer. So the head guy's changed out, right? And that's so if you don't, so you want a new process in a new organization, get a new head guy in running things, right? And he's an NFL guy, so you can't tell me that Nagy wasn't part of this process and getting feedback from folks in the NFL. I need to upgrade our training staff. And he's talked to 10 different guys. Who should I go get? Can't tell me that's not part of this process. You can't tell me that there's not a connection between Nagy being in place and this guy coming after that. Coincidences don't happen, right? One coincidence.
I stopped believing in coincidences a long time ago.
All right, so he is a graduate from Oklahoma. He has a master's degree in physical therapy, athletic training. He began his career at Arizona. He was hired by the Dolphins, and he was been with the Saints in 2018. 2019, he was promoted to their director of rehabilitation, and he's going to take over. And guess what, guys? If you've never worked in an organization, new guys come in, clean house, and add their guys. So if you're looking for some changes, new guys make stuff happen, right?
Yeah.
It's every organization I was in.
The general manager, it's your job.
Yeah. So it's a much better. So he's got an NFL experience. And then the other part of this from George's article is that they're also very rapidly, I think this announcement will come probably in the next couple of weeks at the most, they're hiring from the NFL, I think probably an NFL guy. George doesn't say that. The athletic department is expected to make another football training staff hire, which is described as a return-to-play specific trainer. And this guy is going to be specifically focused.
A return-to-play specific trainer, huh?
Yep. So, and apparently I think that's an NFL thing. I'm guessing.
So you're basically rehabbing them, getting them back in the game before the season's up.
Well, and you're monitoring all that. Like, okay, you're monitoring all those processes. So again, I think what you're looking for is you're probably bringing in two NFL guys who we're going to bring in a professional process with rigor, because in the NFL, money sitting in the training room is money not on the field.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and that's the methodology OU needs to use now, right? We keep talking about value, and when your value's in the training room, not on the field, you're losing money. So I think this whole return to play thing, and I haven't researched it, but that sounds like an NFL concept to me, right? You have one guy who is specifically where the coach says, "When is this guy getting
talking
back?"
to training staffs about it in the NFL. Yeah, that's why I'm reading it right now.
Yeah. So is that what it is? Specific return to play?
Yeah, it said during the assessment, Oklahoma spoke with several NFL training staff seeking advice on where it could improve. Ultimately, the university felt it needed to make 2 new staff additions. In addition to Gress, the athletic department is also expected to make another football training staff hire, which was described as a return to play specific trainer.
Yeah, so it's all part of. So you've got one. So now, because we know Brent was going crazy with the whole injury report nonsense, right?
Yes.
It's the first year. Now he's got. So now he's got one guy, right? So then this will be the guy that he can go to, and that streamlines things, takes care of him. This guy will give Brent a report, right? Look, these are the guys hurt. This is their status, and he's used to the NFL model and all that.
Right.
Did OU have a problem? Yes. Did they identify it? Yes. Have they moved quickly on it? No. Have they finally made a change? Yes.
One change, and so far,
but a change at the top always means changes trickling down.
Are coming down. Yeah. Well, so these are the guys but this isn't the diagnosing guy, which is my concern.
Well, I can't speak to the specifics below this. This is George's article. I'm not an expert on this.
I know.
So, but I do think when you have different guys that processes and procedures get shaken up, right?
Sure.
And maybe one of these an NFL process is we get second opinions on everything, right?
You have to.
Okay, all right.
Especially now.
Hey, wait a minute. You're telling me you have a better process, and again, there's going to be some kind of salary cap space for college football, which is going to even to a certain degree what people spend, right?
Yeah.
And so the other pieces,
Well,
we'll see. We'll see how it shakes out, right? But we're
yeah,
talking about.
I don't think that they're going to be able to
We'll
limit
see.
much.
We'll see what the outliers are. But people, I mean, college presidents are sick of this and they want money.
But wait. Before we go to the end of that, I mean, we're going to get into that conversation. I'm going to end up getting pissy about it. So let's kind of keep this focused on where we are.
No, you're right.
Value has to be there. I know that part. I agree with you wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
But when it comes to the NIL stuff, I'm not ever going to be in agreement about that. And I don't believe that they can't afford to fucking do it or to get a CBA either.
No, I'm with you on the CBA, right? They need a CBA. Yeah. The big thing about what just happened is it gets us closer to a CBA, right? And that's what we need. We need a
you
truce.
Have to do it. You have to do it because, well, and it surprises me to no end that they went through with the settlement and they're still trying to push these things that they've been pushing for the last 10 years and losing on in court every time they go to court. So these rules, like with the Deloitte shit and all that, trying to be up. I mean, look, I look at it this way. If you play for the Cowboys and one of their corporate sponsors is, I don't know, the Sleep Number bed, right? Sure. And they give Dak Prescott a shit ton of money.
Yes.
That's NIL, and that's and it's a way to get him more money than what the Cowboys have to give him. And nobody says a fucking thing about it. You know what I mean? Is it subverting the salary cap? Probably. But
no, it's not. No, it's not, because it's the question is, but sure. you don't have Bob's House of Weed Tillers that's owned by Jerry Jones giving Zach $5 million.
I understand that. And you can't, but here's the thing. If somebody is willing to pay a kid that money, he's worth that money. That's what a fair market is.
Okay. Well, we need to see how this shakes out. But you and I both agree that on some level, things
collectively bargaining, and you can do whatever the fuck you want as long as the players are having some say in the rules that they have to go by. I don't have a problem.
Well, they had a say in this settlement.
Yeah. The old players did. Yeah.
Well, but it's a class action, so they did. They did have a role in this.
I get it, but that's.
But I'm agreeing with you. But all I'm saying is that at a certain point, OU needs to fix all this medical stuff because they can't have it being a recruiting advantage someone else has over them. There's the financial piece of recruiting.
The scariest
right?
thing.
There's the financial piece of recruiting, right? And then there's everything else about your program and how it's run and how efficient it is. I mean, free agents don't sign with Cleveland because it's a shitty ran franchise, right? And that's what OU's moving towards.
Unless they give you 230 guaranteed.
But not everybody gets 230 guaranteed, right?
No, he's the only one ever.
Right? Ever. So that's why they're a shitty franchise, and that's why they wasted a defense.
Dumpster fire in Cleveland.
So you've got to be a franchise that's well run end to end, right? To make sure that when you are spending your money, you're not losing guys because of something else. Mm-hmm. When you match money.
I 100% agree with you. 100%.
And match money, and by having an NFL type medical setup, Jim Nagy meets with kids and their parents, and they say, "We heard your medical stuff's all fucked up because A&M has been telling us that." I'm just using A&M as a straw man. Not that they'd ever do that. You need Jim Nagy to say, yes, we had problems. We have new NFL guys coming in. We will have an NFL model of how we're going to run our medical.
Right. And they were to answer Corporate Doug's question, didn't OU fire people? No, they didn't. The sports medicine team did not there wasn't a single change of face until like now.
Yeah, and the Anderson thing is there's blame on both parts, and it's a mess. So you want to throw OU medical completely under the bus? That's not accurate. But
I'll tell you this though,
Did they
but I
do what
know
they
about
needed to
enough of
do?
them. I
Did they
know
do
about enough
enough?
of them that they screwed up.
Yeah.
And it's over and over and over again to where I have a hard time blaming it too much of it on Nick.
No, but he did do some stuff that was, I mean.
Yeah, there was some shady shit that was going on, apparently, you know, trying to break up the team kind of stuff. I get it.
Yeah. So again, but OU needs to fix it. And you have been railing on it that nothing's happened. Now something's happened. Let's
Thank
see what
God.
happens. Let's see what happens.
Hey
next
man,
spring.
any movement is good movement for me because that's the one concern. I mean, the whole point of this show today was, you know, if you're not high on Oklahoma with possibly the best defense in the country, definitely the best defensive line in the country, you've got a Heisman candidate quarterback that's already had 4,000 yards and 44 touchdowns in a season. You've got probably at least at the worst, probably a top 5 running back. You've got an offensive line that has the best offensive line coach in the country and is definitely a lot better than it was a year ago.
And he's aligned with a scheme that he could coach blindfolded.
Correct. So if you're not high on him, I want to know what you're high on. What have you been smoking? Because the only thing that would keep me from saying such a thing is injuries and having injuries the way we had them last year. And that's what Story was talking about, was that they had to look at it and be like, there was so many that you have to look at it. Makari Vickers, he's at CU now. They completely missed an injury that, you know, now the heart thing they knew about, but the other injury he had to have surgery on, and he should be back by the time it all starts. But that's a guy, there's another long cornerback guy with speed from Florida that you would have loved to have been able to keep around, but you misdiagnosed it. We're lucky as shit that we kept Gentry around because they screwed that up for 2 years.
Yeah, and they finally brought in an outside specialist and got it right.
Thank God.
Allegedly. We'll see. Hopefully Gentry can do what he needs to do. I mean, shoulders are, it's sometimes, you know, they never could get.
I'm throwing them under the bus, corporate. It's okay. It's okay.
Well, I mean, you know, it's again,
not too far, but I mean, it is what it is.
It is what it is. We needed guys, and we were crippled in 2 areas, and some of it's just bad luck. Some of it we just couldn't get guys back in the field.
That's the one thing, though. I was saying that's the whole point. Is that, don't you believe that that's probably the one thing, aside from, yes, you guys know I've said this a ton. I want to see Brent Venables take another step as a head coach in how he handles business on the field during the game, situationally, right? I want to see that improvement too. I think we're gonna. But we know he knows what he's doing with recruiting. We know he knows what he's doing when it comes to building a defense. We know that this offensive staff knows what the hell it's doing.
Well, we know Brent is when he trusts the offense, he's hands off and he lets the offense hum.
Mm-hmm.
Right? We know that. Right? His first 2 years, we knew that. He did not. We know that he left Lebby alone, and for the most part, Lebby's offenses were productive, right?
Yeah, situationally at times he was a little iffy, but yeah.
Yeah, and Lebby was obsessed with the speed and he didn't know quite how to manage the clock and
that left and right, that run into the sideline shit killed me.
But overall, we know Brent, in at least 2023, right? Second year in, he left Lebby to his own devices. He trusted him and he trusted his quarterback, right? And we now have, and we know he's given Arbuckle free reign, right? For better or worse, that is. But Arbuckle, at least with the, I don't like the hash he's made of QB recruiting, but I can't fault what he's been doing with the QB room on campus, right? And how the QBs went through spring and the energy and all the vibes we're hearing about the offense from various sources, right? Can't knock Arbuckle for any of that. I think he's, like I said, I think he's botched his QB recruiting thing, but overall,
but that's a BV thing though. There's a something that I want to see BV step up and quit. Yes, Manning you know what?
Yes,
your contract says that you have control over X, Y, and Z. Then take control and tell Joe Sheehan to shut the fuck up.
Yeah. So, but I think we've seen Brent with a good offense, and he's not tinkering with it. He's not messing with
No,
it.
no,
You know,
he's
if
not.
it's
He's
if
not
it's
that meddling guy.
if it's humming, he's not. I mean, last year he was meddling all over the place because his job was cratering and the offense was 120th in college football. So, you know, he, you know,
Yeah.
and after he fired Seth, was he meddling left and right? Yeah, probably. But I would have been too at that point. So
Penn State, you don't know shit about college football, so I don't care what you think.
well,
every time he's come in, you just say stupid shit. So
is
it's
there not like a
why do I care?
Penn State channel
He
you can
does
go
it. I
to?
know he's been on a lot lately. He does this shit all the time.
That's pretty funny.
You guys you wouldn't have a playoff win at all. Last year was your first time in the playoff, and it was the 12 team. And if it wasn't for SMU and freaking Boise, you don't have a damn playoff win. So pipe down there.
I mean,
Franklin.
the SMU quarterback should be under investigation for throwing that game.
Lord.
I mean, give me a break.
Plus,
hey, hey, no worries. No worries. You've got James Franklin, best game day coach in America. Right.
Him and Mario Cristobal.
The only, and by the way, I'll leave this comment for Mr. Penn State. James Franklin, the only coach to ever have a rape scandal at Vandy. And left town with the mess.
Also,
still
the
going
only
on.
coach to ever win 9 games at Vandy, too.
Well, maybe there's a connection there. I'm not
Possibly.
I won't dig into too much of that. So
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think if you're
in the end, I didn't predict a national championship to begin with. I've said,
right.
What is there not to love about this Oklahoma team? If you're not high on them with what they have on defense and what they have on offense, I mean, you can say the ceiling is third. You realize that with this defense, which is loaded, they're playing 6 out of their 8 conference opponents, first-year quarterbacks. Yeah. Michigan, first-year quarterback, no matter what.
Well, no. Michigan, play the other guy. Play the guy who can't move the ball, please. Please play
whoever the hell you want. Play whoever you want, but you're still going to have to deal with what Brent Venables is about to send at you.
All right, so Hayes Fawcett, or whatever his name is, just posted that OU got 3 verbal commitments.
Oh, wow.
That he's prepping graphics for. He just texted pony logo ×3 and Brent on the plane doing the Boomer Sooner punch. So if you were asking me, and you guys are getting this first, okay? Who are those 3 guys? I have just told you about them on this show. It is probably Noah Best, Braxton Lindsay, and if it's happening soon, it's probably Danny Odom, because Tyler Ruxer isn't happening until July 7th. So if these 3 things are falling soon, you've added the middle linebacker you wanted, the cornerback you wanted, and you've added a Noah Best is a top 250, top 200 type kid at center or guard. So didn't the orgy guy transfer from Michigan? I'm not sure what to do with that comment.
Sorry.
So you've added 3 guys, and I've been trying to tell everybody, and on the live streams, everywhere else on my Patreon, OU plays in recruiting in June. Ignore the fact of what's going on in May and watch what happens in June and July. In June, when Bob was around, OU fumbled their visits sometimes, right?
They did.
It would happen. Brent locks down the OU official visits. They are textbook.
Absolutely.
And they make runs at folks, and they're very rare that anything happens on an official visit where you say the kid's like, well, I never got time. But Brent, somehow, they had 17 kids in, and Brent spent like hours with every one of them somehow. Don't ask me how he pulled that off. So Unc Braxton Lindsey, middle linebacker prospect from Arkansas, 6'3", 220.
Yeah.
Also plays tight end for his.
He's a stud.
He's a legit.
He's a stud.
Legit. So obviously we want the next Danny Stutzman, right? That's kind of what we're asking for. That's what we'd like. He has those vibes. He is that big, that fast, that physical. So it is.
That would be a no. Sugoi.
Yeah, Brent.
He pissed that one away. Is I think worse than
Arbuckle. He's coaching.
Arbuckle's a young dummy,
and he's shopping in a different. He's shopping in a different store, different aisles.
That's what I was saying. Yeah.
So we'll see. It's. I don't like what they've done there. If they luck out with one of them, hopefully they do a decompress on it, figure out what they're doing, and not make the same mistake. It looks like Arbuckle's not making that mistake with Peyton.
No, and I will say that I don't think that he's been great about the communication stuff with Jaden. I think I can say that. He hadn't been great about communicating with Jaden even since the visit.
So
I think he's been keeping in touch with Jaron some. And I think he's still hedging his bets, but I don't think he's doing a great job. And I think that it's become pretty clear. I mean, come on. He definitely hasn't, even though he said that he screwed it up, I think that he hasn't really changed the way he's doing things.
Well, moving forward, I think he's going to learn an ugly lesson here, right?
Yeah, because and
they won't do it again. He's sticking with Peyton Houston, riding Peyton Houston as the only guy. Okay? He's got a lead. As long as OU looks good this fall, they're going to get Peyton Houston, right? Okay. And that gives you their 2027 quarterback. What he does for 2028, I don't know. I do know there's a local Norman North quarterback who looked really good at the camp last week.
He did, yep.
His dad is a basketball.
What's his name again?
It's Nash Henry.
Yeah.
And he's 6'3", 190.
Yeah, he's a good player.
Been talking to his dad. So I'll be able to hook you up with him, Jason, if he becomes the OU's target. So we'll have back-to-back years where we can at least talk about an OU quarterback prospect probably. So,
well, I hope that at this point, this is what I say about the whole deal with that. I've said it enough. I think we've all said it enough that we would have preferred, without a doubt, Jaden O'Neal. Do I blame him for leaving? Hell no. He's got a good offer. I don't love the idea of him playing for Gus Malzahn, but I'll just say this. The guy is a stud. And if you watched it, and there are a couple of those. I have somebody who asked about somebody asked about the scrimmage. I have a short video out there right now where I put a couple of those throws on there. Not the greatest, but the throws were legit, man. He throws lasers. And it's just his arm talent is different.
It's
period. He's not an athlete quarterback. He's a fucking thrower.
We'll see how it shakes out. I just don't love the Malzahn offense fit for him. I just don't.
Noah Best, Danny Odom, Braxton Lindsey.
That's my guess. The three.
Oh.
That's my guess of the three guys. If those verbals are falling soon, like Hayes Forsett just got three guys said
he's gonna blow up wherever he goes. I believe that.
Yeah, maybe. I just don't love that offense as a fit for him. But nothing says he doesn't verbal to FSU, blow it up at Mustang, and flip to somebody else. I mean, if he
blows it up at Mustang, because they haven't won championships or anything in a long, or have they ever even?
Well, yeah, but they got a couple of athlete guys around them, so he's got a couple.
No, they've added to. I'm saying if he goes, they go make a nice deep playoff run, and he goes and puts up 4,000 yards, which I think he will.
It's possible they throw the ball enough, yeah.
Throw 40, 50 touchdowns.
I mean, he may not be in the game that long. I mean, if they're really dominating, he may not be in the game that long. That's the only thing. I would say is that you never
Anyway,
know.
the point is, I think that it's there's a long time before December. Anyway,
Yeah, there is. I mean, they'll figure things out. But
but in the
again,
end, I don't think that there's any doubt that this kid is legit. I don't think
well,
there is any doubt.
again, I think his Mustang senior year film, folks are going to look at this and they're going to re-rank him and bump him back up, and they're going to look like idiots for having dropped him.
Oh yeah, because he had a better year last year in like 7 games than he did the year before. 7 touchdown game and shit.
Yeah, I mean, it's again, I just don't want OU. My fear is OU screws this up and loses out on both of them, and then we just need some. We got some momentum in recruiting. We just had a great recruiting weekend.
Corporate Duck, I just said this at the start of the show, and shout out to Jay. I love him and all, but he's full of shit on this one. It's not happening. No, there's no chance. No.
The only chance I would say is if he goes, if he goes to his FSU weekend, and Jay is it's not Jay Norvell. I'm sorry, wrong Norvell. Mike
Norvell.
Mike Norvell. Too many Norvells out there. And Mike Norvell hits on Jaron's wife in front of him.
It's then they'll go somewhere else.
That's because we know Jaron's not going to put up with that.
Listen, they're not coming to Oklahoma if Bo Bentley is. It's just not going to happen. And I still don't know why Oklahoma's playing this game that they want them both. They don't want them both.
Well,
they're not willing to pay them both.
Well, that's the other thing. Again, we've been talking about value, right?
Yeah.
Unk's asking, we got another recruiting question. Unk's asking about Derek Johnson, the cornerback out of California. He visited. There's no buzz yet coming out of that visit. If Odom verbals, I don't know that OU takes Derek Johnson, has room for Derek Johnson if he wants to come. I think he looks good on film too. I like him. Long kid, again, gives you everything that you want, but sometimes things become a first, whoever grabs the ring first gets the ring. And if Odom grabs the ring first and they love him on film, which I like him on film too, that plays out.
They didn't get both Arnold and Hawkins in the same year, Kyle.
Yeah. There's a year gap.
I don't understand why it's so hard for everybody to understand this shit. I don't understand why it's so hard for you guys to understand this shit.
It's
2 elite quarterbacks in the same class never go to the same school.
Well, if they do, it lasts like 6 months.
I don't remember the last time I heard of this fucking happening anywhere.
Alabama signed Eli Holstein and the Simpson kid, didn't they?
Oh, Ty Simpson.
At the same year, right? Holstein and Simpson, which sounds like a law firm, but whatever. Yeah. Or a cow firm.
Sure.
They did. They signed 2 elite guys. They did.
Okay, cool.
That's Alabama.
How'd that work out for them? They spent a bunch of money on 2 dudes, and one of them left after 1 year.
Yeah, so it doesn't work long term at all. So
no. It's a waste of money. It's a waste of money.
It's a waste of momentum and resources. That's my big deal. I mean,
completely.
We should just be talking about the fact you may get 5 verbals from this weekend.
That's where I'm at. Listen,
exactly.
Again, I hope it all gets itself unfucked sooner than later, because I'm just done with it all. And it sucks. I hate it that, I know that Jaden O'Neal wanted to be a Sooner.
Yeah.
He wants to be a Sooner. He's in Oklahoma instead of California, where he grew up. But
yeah, it
is what it is. And I think, there's a lot of blame to go around, but they're not going to get them both. They're not getting both of them. Just understand that. I can assure you that if Bo Bentley is coming to Oklahoma, they're not.
And we'll judge Bar Arbuckle on that decision down the road.
See, hey, look, can you guys read between the lines here?
Yeah, I mean, and Jaron does a good job.
He does.
Props to Jaron.
The dude is way
He'll,
chiller than I would be about it. Hell,
yeah,
I'm
I
not
would. I
being
mean,
chill about it. I
yeah,
mean, come on.
I'd probably be dropping some f bombs and doing. But Jaron's a good guy. His son is a great kid. I mean,
Love
let's
him.
let's just call this what it really is. For
Sucks.
Jason and I, it's hard to meet Jaden, talk to Jaden, and not be rooting for the kid
Before you even watch him play.
before
Yeah.
you. Well, I can't say that. I watched him play the moment he was verbal.
Well, but I
was,
mean, no, I
yeah,
mean, I've
yeah,
seen,
I know.
I did too, but I'm
Yeah,
just saying, like,
he's a great kid
before you
too.
even think about what he
Yeah.
does as a player, I'm not even talking about it. But if you talk to the kid, you're going to root for him. I just want him to,
Yeah, I
I
mean,
just want him to go somewhere where he gets a good chance and balls the freaking crap out because he
I
will.
want him to be as successful as he can possibly be.
Tell you what, I don't want to see him anytime.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, again, his runway is absurd. So, if you're wondering why we lean a little bit in this conversation, it's hard not to talk to the kid and not be rooting for him, and it's hard not to want to see him in crimson dropping 5 touchdown passes on Texas in a couple of years. It's just that's hard, when you think about Emmett Jones and the wide receiver talent that they're trying to build up, and it looks like they're making progress on that. It's hard. So, all right, guys, I got like 5 minutes. Are there any?
Yeah,
other
I gotta go
recruiting?
too. I've got to go to Artesia and take care of some stuff for my mom this week. I got a busy week too. So
we've got a couple of minutes. Any recruiting questions left in the chat? Players I
no,
haven't
and
talked
yeah,
about.
and let me just answer Kyle. No, it isn't the main reason. So if he flops, it's got to be the man to blame. No, he's not. He was Jaden O'Neal was committed 9 months before Jim Nagy showed up.
This isn't a Nagy issue
At all. I still believe that he prefers Gibson, but that's just I just think that. I haven't heard that. I just think that.
Yeah. So any questions about any of the guys?
Yeah, let's talk about somebody else.
Anybody else that you want to know about the 20th, the visitors coming up? Any other names out there you're wondering about? So Jake Krull, okay, he just visited Florida. Florida's got some momentum right now, but there's no way he doesn't make the official visit. And I think if OU's trailing, I think they have a lead right before the Florida visit. If Florida's going to make a move, right? Kids don't have bad official visits, okay? Not these days. Well, not unless you're Michael Fasusi visiting Texas. Kids don't have bad official visits, but he's going to visit on the 20th. He is so tied with Miguel Chavis. He's been a Norman so often. I think OU gets Jake Krull provided the numbers are right, and I think OU has been clearing space for him, like dropping off some of the other defensive ends, grabbing Nelson, frees up money to make sure you have the money to get Krull. And Benji's right. That kid, literally, I watched that kid. He at 6'3", he's 6'3", 6'4". He was like 220 last spring. I watched him like abuse Ty Haywood and every other offensive tackle they put him in front at a rivals 5-star camp. He was just abusing these guys. And they're like they're 6'5", 6'6", 300. And Krull is, pardon my French, bitch slapping the crap out of them. and smacking the dummy. And these guys and these tackles they don't lose reps at camps. And he beat the crap out of all of them except DJ Sanders. I never saw him against Fasusi, but DJ Sanders is the only guy who could stop him. Like the Amacheco kid from Maryland, who's the number one offense.
How close is Florida on this though? It seems like they're
running up, but it's late momentum, right? Whereas Chavis and this guy have been tight all the way through.
Okay.
I mean, and he's at IMG, which isn't he's at IMG. That's not a Florida pipeline, right? When kids at IMG tend to not
go everywhere.
They go everywhere.
Yeah.
They don't have distance. Once you're at IMG and you're hanging out with kids from all over the country, the distance thing doesn't seem to be such a big deal. So
Right.
Any other questions? Last minute. Any other players at all? Going, gone. I'm out. I'm out, Jason. Thanks, man.
My man, appreciate you coming in. Chris Mason, Sooners 360. Get over there to his Patreon page. Get over to his YouTube page. Make sure you get in. Hey, this is the time that you definitely need the information, and he's got it. Go over to his Patreon. It's just under Sooners 360 there as well, right?
Yep. Just go to patreon.com, search for Sooners 360. You'll find it. Free
All
trial, and it's only $2 a month.
It's cheap. It's cheap. All righty, man. Appreciate you so much, man. Talk to you soon.
Bye.
All right, man. Chris Mason, Sooners 360. He's my guy. Appreciate him coming in and talking about it a little bit. Look, again, I'm just going to say, does Norman get another steak? He's going to get an ass whipping if he don't knock off his shit. I don't know. We're going to see what ends up happening with it. I mean, look, I know that Chris Mason's rarely wrong about these things when he starts saying predicting stuff. So I'm not going to make predictions on stuff like that. I hope they get cruel. I think it'd be awesome if they did. I think that you can't really count out Bates, Chavis, these guys. You just can't do it because they put them to work. I mean, they've built the best defensive line in the country right now. So I'm excited about it. I think they're in good shape. And again, with this defense looking like what it is, I don't know how anybody can really still be sleeping on Oklahoma. I don't care about the Vegas numbers. I don't care about all that. I think that's giving money away. Because they don't even have to be as good as I think they probably going to be on offense. They just got to be kind of good. Top 30, top 25. Your top 10, shit, could be special. Complimentary football. And I don't think that you can stress enough how important this new trainer situation is. You cannot stress it enough. Oh shit! You know what? I know I had a super chat from you there, Coach Ricks. Did I already say thank you for this? When you bring that guy in, he's going to bring his diagnosis guy with him too. Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate you, boss. Absolutely. And that's what you got. I mean, listen, these guys, they've definitely taken too long to do this. And I don't know why, but once you get the ball rolling on something like this, I think you're going to start seeing this kind of work itself out. And thank God for that, because you can't afford to continue having this happen. You cannot. So I think if we have a good year, they will come. Correction, if our offense has a great year. I don't know how great it has to be. That's what I was just saying, Greg. I think that you could be pretty good. You can be good. You can be, hell, serviceable would have won you 8 games last year. Serviceable. Hell, even just serviceable at quarterback would have freaking won you 8 games. What was Bishop saying? Ronnie Wheat. Yeah, that'd be another good. Listen, man, you guys pay a hell of a lot more attention to all the names than I do. I know once I start hearing that this guy is close, is when I start watching them. You know? And I just listen to what PG and Mason say. You know what I mean? Jay and them. Do you not like Cruel there, Coach Top? Yes, we like Cruel. Everybody likes Cruel, don't they? But don't like KJ Ford. I didn't say I didn't like KJ Ford. I said Ben G didn't like KJ Ford. Don't put that shit off on me. Yeah, no doubt. Yeah. Serviceable means not pissing down one's leg. You know, even when nobody's around. Yeah. I really hope he's playing for Auburn when they show up week 4, but I don't have any confidence that he will be. I do not. Hell, I know Oklahoma fans wanted his ass out before week 4 last year. Did they not? A bunch of them. Oh, you're talking about Benji, and we all hate Benji takes. Hey, shout out to Coach Top. You my man. Appreciate it. All right, guys. I got to get out of here. I got some stuff I got to take care of for my mom. I know we've still been going almost 2 hours, so probably went even a little longer than I should have. Got to get out of here, though. Appreciate everybody coming in. Let me know what you think. What is the ceiling? What is the floor? Put it in the comment section. Put it in the comment section after we're done here. Let me know what you think the ceiling and the floor is for Oklahoma. Do you think people are crazy if they're sleeping on them? If you think they're going to win 6 games, short of having the same kind of injury issues as you had last year, and even then, I don't know that would happen. I think you're crazy. Maybe I'm crazy. Y'all let me know what you think. We'll see you all in the next one. Hey, Jason Watkins here with Hall of Fame College Football. And if you are ready to back your favorite team, the Sooners, and fade that Texas hype train every Saturday this fall, there's only one place to do it, MyBookie. Right now, you can double your first deposit up to $1,000 when you sign up at hofmedia.us/mybookie1000. That's hofmedia.us/mybookie1000. Yep, 100% deposit bonus, and it takes less than 5 minutes to get started. Whether you're betting college football, rolling the dice in the online casino, or dropping a 10-leg parlay on SEC Chaos, MyBookie has everything you need. Bet anytime, anywhere, on the go, at the tailgate, or yelling at the refs from your couch. Just don't talk trash. Put your money where your mouth is. Hit that link, hofmedia.us/mybookie1000, and get your deposit bonus today. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie and Hall of Fame College Football. Are you tired of your game day gear looking like it's stuck in the offseason? Well, step up your fandom with Hall of Fame College Football's official Fanatics partner store. Whether you're a diehard Oklahoma Sooners fan like myself, bleeding crimson and cream, or you rep another one of the SEC's heavy hitters, Fanatics has you covered. Shop thousands of officially licensed hats, jerseys, sideline polos, and exclusive championship merch from the entire Power 4 and Group of 6 too, all shipped directly to your doorstep and fast. Want to gear up like your favorite coaches and players? Are you looking for that perfect tailgate tee or a statement piece for your man cave? Fanatics is your one-stop shop for authentic college football gear from everybody that plays the game. So do yourself and your team a favor. Click our link in the description or simply log on to hofmedia.us/fanatics. That's hofmedia.us/fanatics. And you can shop everything that you want for the best prices of the day right on our Fanatics partner page.